Yeah, it was amazing. I think it was like the best 3 weeks of my life. Like, loved every minute of it. I couldn't fault anything, to be honest. Yeah.
How do things like this come about? Obviously, last time I spoke to you, it was Germany and Netherlands, this time Southeast Asia. Does it come from you? Do you get booked for these things? How does it all come about?
Well, the one which kickstarted everything in Macau, the guy who runs the club and books the DJs, actually reached out to me on Instagram saying he loves what I'm doing. And if I want to come to Macau for a show, then let him know. So
you took him up on the offer.
I let him know.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then from there, I just started contacting clubs, trying to find the promoters. A lot of DMs, a lot of getting ignored, and then eventually you kind of get through, and then you make it happen.
Yeah.
So.
What's it like being like an international DJ, but obviously still being based in Guernsey and things? Is it still? I imagine, is it post-COVID that it's made things easier with that sort of thing? How does it all sort of work? Because obviously you're still based here, but you're still performing all around the world.
Yeah, I mean the flights, they were a challenge because you kind of lose, as you know, because you've just been to Australia, you lose like a day and a half to 2 days either side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like. The funny thing is, I think my music is more popular in like Southeast Asia, so it's probably easier to get like bookings over there than it is in Europe, which is quite strange.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how do the shows that you've just done in Southeast Asia compare to other sort of big shows that you've done in the past?
Well, I think the one in Bangkok was like my favourite gig of all time.
Really?
Yeah. The production in that club was insane. There was like confetti, CO2. They had like these dancers with LED and lasers all over them. And I mean, the club only opened like 3 months ago, so everything was super fresh, everything was new. Yeah, I just can't fault the place. It was just incredible.
Yeah.
I just loved every minute of it.
And I imagine because of the way that music is now, so much on streaming, and people can access your music from all over the world. Do you have quite a big fan base in sort of Southeast Asia, these places like back in Bangkok and Hong Kong and Macau and Thailand and stuff like that?
To be honest, like on the streaming side, it's still mainly in Europe.
Yeah.
Where the big numbers are, but. I mean, yeah, my music's being streamed in like every country in the world according to Spotify. So, yeah,
that is amazing. I mean, you'll still sort of, have your life alongside all of this, though, don't you? This is just one section of. You're not doing this full time, the DJing stuff, but I imagine it takes up a lot of your time. Is that right?
It does. It's like every spare time that I'm not at work is basically like music related. So.
Yeah. How do you find that balancing sort of your life as a DJ, but also everything that you come back to Guernsey and then it's sort of back to I guess reality. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on like Asia time, which is why I'm here so early.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in early.
Yeah, it was no problem. But yeah, I don't know. Like, balance is probably the wrong word, 'cause I think it's probably a little bit imbalanced at the moment. But yeah, I'm just trying to make it happen as quickly as I can. So I'm just pouring everything I can into it, really.
But it feels like your music and these gigs that you're being invited to do is just growing and growing, which must be amazing, but that must make it maybe a little bit more tricky to find that balance or imbalance, as you said. Yeah,
well, here's the thing. So after I finished the show in Bangkok, the club owner came up to me like almost straight afterwards and said, "Oh, when are you free again?" And he wants to book me in March, and I said, "Oh no, I can't do March, that's way too soon." He said, "What about April?" And then I like hesitated, and I went, "Yeah, okay." So I'm going back there in like 5 weeks.
Oh my gosh!
So
yeah, I mean, it's not that it's that must be your dream though, I suppose.
Yeah, it is.
You're still balancing.
It's just very hectic.
Yeah,
so.
I can only imagine. But thanks. What else do you have coming up? Because you're always obviously in 5 weeks' time you'll be back in Bangkok and things. But you're always releasing music and always working with people, and it seems like you're so busy all the time. So what have you got coming up?
Yeah, I've signed another couple of releases on Hardwell's label on Revealed, which, to be honest, like that's kind of what triggered everything, particularly in Asia, because they absolutely like love his music, his label, everything like that. So
for people that don't know, he's one of the biggest sort of DJs in the world, isn't he? And
one of them.
Label, that you've been signed to. So that sort of kick-started this, and
that really helps over there. Yeah, you kind of just say like, "Oh, I've been releasing on these labels," and that kind of opens the doors and starts the conversation. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you've done so well over the years, and it's great to see your sort of journey sort of progress as this. If there are any sort of people listening that are DJing it in Guernsey, because I know there are lots of people getting into it as well, I suppose any advice for them that you have, because I think they'd be fascinated to hear from you.
It takes a lot of work. It takes more work than I think you realise it's going to take, not just from the actual DJing perspective, but then as soon as you get into like music production, then there's a whole
like
other
making
world.
your own music, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I suppose
Stick at it.
stick at it. Yeah, it's a very steep learning curve, but it's really rewarding, and